inside. Landon Aydlett, our good friend with the National Weather Service, is standing by, and it's Hockey Monday, everybody. He and I have been ribbing each other for the last couple of weeks how my beloved Hartford Whalers became the Carolina Hurricanes and finally won their first Stanley Cup, and Landon is decked out in Carolina Hurricanes gear. Wow. Good morning, my friend. I'm never going to live this down. Good morning.
Welcome to my weather deck. It's a beautiful day, and yes, the Hartford Whalers, they really were kind of a status quo average team until they came to North Carolina where greatness happens.
Oh, boy.
And then they won the championship. So, yeah, it's a beautiful day out there. Not much to see this week. Looks like we're going to continue on with the fine weather conditions that we had last week. If you're outside along the beach, it was a phenomenal sunset last night with almost clear skies with that cloud blocking your sunset view. So no green flash, at least
now
if you're
that
in
we will agree
area.
on. Yeah. I'm gonna give you basketball for Carolina. I'm gonna give you Kitty Hawk. we're probably gonna disagree on hockey. But make sure everybody watch. NHL playoffs are happening right now, like throughout the week. Game 1 just ended today. Of course, it was the New York Islanders beating the defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. You saw it live on KUM TV8. We'll have all the games for you. So you are
Carolina Hurricanes.
There you go. Hartford
I'm
Whalers.
pulling down Christmas lights, by the way. I've left these on since Christmas. So
nice.
As you remember, we had our Christmas in my upstairs room last Christmas, but that's all down. I have furniture now. I still have to pull down the Christmas lights when I get time for it, but we're going to go downstairs. So hopefully I don't lose signal as we descend to the lower level. And we're going to talk about the weather. As you know, I told you last week, it's Typhoon Preparedness Month here on Guam. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about typhoons and what's going on in our area. Still, it's all about preparedness and what actions to take. And let me get my systems up and running right quick. Stand by.
And by the way, shout out to your wonderful cameraman, your twin brother Brandon, doing a fine job keeping you in frame.
Well, I have to teach Brandon how to operate, and so he's doing a great job. He's going to be taking over for me on these weekly broadcasts come end of July when I'll be on vacation. But yeah, just a little bit of memorabilia. This is our championship ring. This is from 2006 season.
Here we go.
That was the year that we went all the way and won the championship. So this is Brandon's ring. I cannot find mine yet.
The magical summer of 06.
That was a great first year. Then we have a classic hockey puck, and these are, you don't want to throw these at people because they'll leave quite a mark. And they're a lot harder. Sometimes people think it's soft, but no, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And then Lord Stanley's Cup.
Okay, that's sweet.
Force.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, this is not the real thing, so don't worry.
Very nice.
But yeah, we got some good old memorabilia. So let me take the camera from Brandon. This is his setup for the week. He's working on a couple of things with the National Weather Service, checking out some new capabilities and possibly an overhaul to our workstations to do a four monitor setup so we can have more accessibility to systems and how we can put our weather network on the cloud. So that's going to be probably in the 1 to 3 year time frame that we can have better accessibility to our weather network. So a lot of changes as the Weather Service continues to up its game in the world of weather. And speaking of the world of weather, not much going on out there. It's continued dry with all the moisture down well to our south. That theme's going to continue at least through the week with a great week ahead. This is the infrared showing the deeper convection, the showers and thunderstorms well to our south. So Guam is up here in the clear area. These clouds right here just south of us, those are mid and upper level cloudiness, so not much rain production there. The heaviest stuff is down here near Palau and Yap, where they're having this broad trade wind disturbance generate showers and thunderstorms. So the abundantly wet pattern continues across Micronesia, pretty much in force, keeping our drought conditions none to little, which is great news for them. And then opening up to our wider view of the visible. This is, you see that line going across the screen from the right to the left. That's the daylight coming across the region. So we're switching from the infrared to the visible satellite imagery. Not much there to our east, and again, not much over the Mariana Islands. So go ahead and cue up the slides, Jason.
Gotcha.
And we'll start our discussion there. And so, of course, our headlines, not much to speak of. And for us meteorologists, when we're working on other projects, that's not a bad thing. We can focus on other things, such as Typhoon Preparedness Month. So it's pretty quiet out there. A low risk of rip currents, and the fire danger remains moderate. That will steadily climb as long as our days remain rain-free. So do keep out an eye for that. I think there was a wildfire somewhere in central Guam the other day. So keep in mind, if you have any fires burning, make sure you have a permit and do it in a controlled manner. But always call your fire department before you do an outdoor burning, just for any alerts. So current conditions on the next slide, temperature 84 here at Guam and 83 in Saipan. The winds are light around 6 miles per hour, not much to see there. And the heat index is climbing into the 90s right now. I'm already soaked in sweat from being on the weather patio, but that's not all bad. It's gonna be another typical sunny scorcher. The rainfall, trace of rain yesterday at the weather office here at the airport. And since June 1st, just a half inch of rain. And so we're a little bit down for the month and also down about 4 inches for the year. The next slide, back onto the typhoon preparedness month theme. As we discussed last week, tropical cyclones, that's inclusive of tropical depression, which are winds up to 38 miles per hour. Tropical storm, those are winds of 39 miles per hour to 73 miles per hour, and typhoons upwards from 74 miles per hour. And as we discussed, the next slide, that shows our typhoons throughout the year. So I excluded the tropical cyclones, which includes depressions and storms, and just have this chart on typhoons. They happen anytime around the year. So that's inclusive of February, March, April, May, and a little bit of activity in June. That's kind of our low point for the year. But this just shows that if we have a system pass by us in February, that's not indicative of major problems or any changes. That's just typical for our part of the world. We have that bragging right. These things can occur anytime around the year. The next slide, that shows our genesis area. A lot of times people want to know in terms of climate change and stuff, where are we with tropical cyclones? And our pattern is very closely linked to the La Nina and El Nino pattern. And so you see the blue box, that's the typical genesis region for tropical cyclones during a La Nina pattern. That's where we were last year and early this year. You notice it was a very slow season for tropical weather across the region. And that was in part due to a very moderate to strong La Nina pattern that kept all the development west of us. So we had a tropical storm at Sani scrape by between Yap and Guam around October 30th, just the day before Halloween. We did go into a tropical storm watch for about 1 day. As that thing just scraped off to our southwest, and then it moved on to our west into the Philippine Sea and further developed. That was the only action we had across the region last year. This year, we've already had 4 tropical cyclones. We just had our 5th tropical cyclone in the basin. That was west of the Philippines towards, I think it was closer to Hong Kong or Vietnam, somewhere in that region. That was tropical depression. It was very short-lived, moved on land, and that was it. So it's going to be a little bit busier than what we saw last year, only because we're in an INSO-neutral pattern, and last year was about as slow of a tropical season as we could see. So I'll be working on a collaborative tropical cyclone outlook for the rest of the year with a team of folks from the Climate Prediction Center, as well as Pacific Region headquarters and others from our region, including Chip Gard. We'll be releasing that in the coming days, hopefully, for a regional climate conference.
You mean the guy who's supposed to be retired?
The guy that's supposed to be retired, and I will say, he's on my speed dial. We're working on some collaborative projects together outside of the tropical cyclone world. I'd say he's pretty much working full time at this point, but he really enjoys it because weather is his life. He lives and breathes weather.
When you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
That's exactly it. And that's how I feel about this job. Coming out of the forecast rotation, I really like this job, even though it's very demanding, a lot of pressure and many hours. I work probably 50 to 60 hours a week on some weeks, but it's not shift work. And this is doing what I like to do. So I love it. And it's for the people of the region to protect life and property. The next slide, this shows the watches and warnings. And a lot of times there's a lot of confusion. Well, what does a tropical storm watch mean? What does a typhoon watch mean? What does a warning mean? And that's basically based off the onset of damaging winds. Those are damaging winds of 39 miles per hour and greater. So a watch means these winds are possible within 48 hours. And a warning means these winds are expected within 24 hours. And so you have to pay attention to that terminology, because these watches and warnings that the National Weather Service sets correlates closely with the government of Guam conditions of readiness. And so we're year-round a condition of readiness 4, which means damaging winds are possible within 72 hours. That's condition normal. We go to condition of readiness 3, once we go into a watch, and then of course condition 2 when we go into a warning. That's within the 24-hour time frame. So again, pay attention. These watches and warnings does not mean that's how far the center is going to be from passing over the island. That just means damaging winds are possible or expected within 48 hours or 24 hours. So just specific terminology on those meanings. So the next slide, that shows our polar orbiting satellite showing the winds at the surface, and it is calm out there. The strongest winds across, of course, Micronesia. That's where we have 10 to 15 knot winds over the waters. But that subtropical ridge, that is dropping southward just a little bit. So near and north of Saipan, you have the very light and variable winds. And that's been the theme since last week, and that's going to continue through this week for the most part, keeping our seas flat. So if you notice out in the water, it's near glass out there. So great for paddling, stand-up paddleboarding, and kayaking if you like the flat waters. If you're into surfing, you're kind of out of luck for at least the next week. So enjoy the water. This is a great time to be out in the water and not have to worry about strong rip currents and large waves. The next slide, that shows our surface analysis yesterday, showing exactly why we're having those drier winds. That's because we have divergence at the surface. So where the winds converge, they come together, you get the updrafts, the convective development, but we're in a diverging pattern. So those winds are splitting at the surface, and it's allowing sinking air or subsidence, keeping conditions dry and favorable. And so that's overpowering the light winds that would normally give us that daytime convection over the island. And that's why we've been so dry recently. The next slide showing the sea conditions. You see that the following trend in the green spike as well as the purple model forecast. We're flatlined right around 2 feet, and that's going to continue through the end of the week. We could see a little bit of a increase late this weekend into early next week as a disturbance approaches our area. But combined seas for the week, 2 to 3 feet, east swell, 2 to 3 feet, and the tides, of course, we're coming up on a high tide of 2.3 feet right about now, and then it's going to be bottoming out around 4 o'clock this afternoon. So for the week, not bad at all. Beautiful week ahead. Isolated showers. We could see a little bit of a cloud development during the daytime, but not that bad at all. So it's going to be a beautiful, dry week, mostly sunny through the end of the week, and then we could have more clouds and showers late this weekend as the weather from across Micronesia kind of bumps northward into our region. So we'll have more on that in our forecast. So check out our weather forecast at weather.gov/GUM for the latest weather conditions. So that's all I have for you.
And there is that logo
that's all?
once again.
Oh, that's it. That's all you got. Okay,
that
right
logo,
on.
there's
Carolina
that hat.
Hurricanes.
Yeah, you know what? We cheer for the same team, though, man. I mean, Whalers, Hurricanes. I mean, it's basically the same.
That's
squad.
the way I see it. It's the same heart, the same team, and so it's just that rich, valuable history and the Carolina Hurricanes and where they came from and who they play for.
There you go. So Whalers always, but lots of immense respect for the Carolina Hurricanes, especially when they won the Cup. So. Yeah, we
Yes.
appreciate it, man. You know what? Lots of good weather. So if you want to go back out on your deck up to floor number 2 there on your place and everything, it looks like you got a lot of Christmas lights to take down.
I think I'm going to keep some of those up and just start putting them up once I get back from my extended leave in late August. I might as well just start decking because I have probably about 15 or 20,000 lights I want to put up again.
There you go. Well, you know what we say on Guam. Deck the halls. Don't let the halls deck you.
Yeah, and you kind of have to go overboard with Christmas. I think it's part of the Philippines tradition. It's because we don't have these seasons like summer, spring, winter, and fall.
It's regional.
It's really, you have Christmas season and the rest of the year. So we have to really go above and beyond for Christmas.
All right, right on, man. Hey, we got to head out, but we always appreciate it, man. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right. See y'all.
Have a good
Thanks,
one, Brandon.
Landon.
All right,
Appreciate
take care,
it. We're back with more of the link next. Good morning.
It's the mic.
Our World War II survivors have endured more sacrifice, suffering, fear, hope, and perseverance than we can ever imagine. Their stories have been passed down from